Hi, welcome to the channel. If this is your first time here, welcome. For those of you who are returning, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. So I've already pre-shuffled the cards and we're going to check to see what guidance, what insight, what's in your energy, what you need to be aware of. And I'm seeing for most of you, some of the first things to be aware of is soul retrieval. So soul retrieval is all about calling back those pieces of self that have been fractured due to emotional upheaval, those pieces to where you felt lost, hurt, sad, unsure of self, not trusting self, not trusting your intuition. Whenever there is chaos, tragedy, trauma, I just heard, especially trauma that is induced on a soul level. What do you have for this message? It creates fractures within the energetic body, right? In the soul itself. And so sometimes there's a need to, especially in shamanic tradition, but if this message is coming up for most of you and you've clicked on this video, then it's no coincidence, right? And so for some of you, there may be the necessity for soul retrieval. For some of you, this could be just from past incidents that have occurred in this lifetime. For others of you, this could be past life events where you're healing certain aspects emotionally, spiritually. So soul retrieval, if you look at it closely, it's like your soul is a sacred place, right? But there are little fragments, pieces that can be left in a dimension, in a place, in a specific space, time, if you will, right? Because we're speaking of past life events, past events, whether this was the past of yesterday or past from a year ago, or a past life event. Either way, this is the energy that's saying to call back the pieces of yourself to where you can be in this energy of wholeness. Also, I'm going to find out exactly what this soul retrieval is. Tell us the incidents that could make the collective aware as to why soul retrieval is here for them. Clarify this soul retrieval, please. Clarify soul retrieval. Anything else? Okay. So on the bottom of the deck, we have the Four of Swords. And then we have the Seven of Wands and the Six of Swords. And then the Eight of Wands came out in reverse. So this soul retrieval is occurring so that you can get those pieces of you that are not moving, that are stuck in a specific location, that are stuck in a mindset for some of you where you're playing constantly over in your mind things that have hurt you. And for some of you, being stuck in this position, not moving, is stagnating your growth. In the aspect of you're constantly replaying certain events so that this is going to keep coming up. For some of you, you're replaying incidents of where you didn't protect yourself, where you gave away your power. And the soul retrieval and doing the soul retrieval ritual where you get quiet, go within self, and just connect with source to call back those pieces of self so that you're able to find peace, balance, and feel more whole within self. Okay? On my channel on Patreon, there's not much on there, but I did make free and available the soul retrieval meditation. It's not one of my best, but it is there, okay? So for those of you who feel led to do so, you're welcome to click the link in the description box to access the soul retrieval meditation, okay? To assist you with calling back the fragmented pieces of yourself so that you can go back into this time of sacredness with the Suji here, to feeling more abundant within self with the Black Elder, okay? This soul retrieval is going to assist you with the abundance and with your sacredness. Some of you may even want to perform this ritual of calling back to self in a sacred space, whether this is a sacred space that you've created for self or whether this is an actual sacred site. Like some of you may live near, I'm getting like stones. I don't know, I just heard Machu Picchu for some of you. Visiting there, going there, doesn't have to be, take it as it resonates. Whatever the sacred place is for you. For many of you, when you visit this sacred place, this is where you're going to be able to also tap into an abundance of wisdom of self and for healing for others, and able to trust in the abundance of the world around you, concentrating on everything that you want to attract into your life, feeling and thinking as though you already have it, okay? And this is also encouraging many of you, especially with the soul retrieval, to not take anything and everything purely at its face value. Because what at first seems like a simple situation could present itself to soon reveal to have many more complex aspects to it. So for some of you, the soul retrieval and whatever fragmented pieces there are of you, it's not all good and it's not all bad either. But don't simply take it for the surface. There is, for many of you, a more complex underlying wisdom there for you. Learn to see both sides. I just heard all three sides, because it's his side, her side, or their side, your side, and then the truth. But also the light side, the dark side, and then how you can bring that together to balance things out. Okay? This is what this soul retrieval is about for many of you. And as you take this time, whether it's going to a sacred site, creating a sacred space to do this soul retrieval, as you're doing this, focus on and seek the sacredness of it. The sacredness of first being in awareness of the fact that soul retrieval is possible, that you're able to heal certain aspects of self that have been lingering, broken, or fragmented. Now, whenever you break something, if you think about it, it's like it doesn't, whether it's a plate, a glass, a bowl, whenever you go to put that thing back together, there's still little pieces that are missing or cracks. And this sacredness, as you're bringing things back together, this is where the divine is taking those little cracks in those pieces. And it's like, that's your refinement. That's the sacredness. And it's like those cracks, those little spaces where there may be just a piece of porcelain or a little piece of glass that's missing. That's where it's going to be filled with gold. That's where the alchemy is happening for many of you, okay? So the sacredness of it all. For some of you, you may be feeling out of step with the world around you, as though you don't belong. And so some of you, I just heard the word escapism, find ways to escape. But it's now time to focus on the present moment, pulling those past aspects that have you wanting to escape from them together. Because there's something that, as you focus on the present moment, that has this refinement to it, where you connect with the divine, okay? And where you'll start to be able to feel reintegrated with yourself and with others by sitting quietly in natural surroundings, in sacred spaces, and just being aware of the sacredness as you call back the fragmented pieces of yourself, of your soul, okay? Honor the sacredness of all things and all beings. Okay, so we had soul retrieval. And this is what's going to put you in this place of calmness where you feel like you're sailing to smoother waters as you're able to honor the sacredness in yourself as well as others, okay? And this will then turn this Eight of Wands right side up, because it came out upside down, where things are then moving again for you, and then it'll be moving exponentially faster, okay? I get for many of you, your abundance will also come in a lot faster. And remember, abundance is not just about material wealth. There's an abundance with relationships and being able to connect with others. There's the abundance of being able to connect with the divine, and the abundance of self, of having self-worth, self-love, and self-respect, a connection with self, as well as with others, not just the material things, you know, the spiritual things as well, the sacred things, you know. Many of you are very abundant spiritually. You may not have all of the this and the that the world looks at as wealth and abundance, but spiritually, baby, your pot is overflowing. Okay, pot of gold. Take that as it resonates, whoever that's for, okay? What do you have for this message? Okay. Anything else? Wow. Okay, so many of you, you recognize that you are connected spiritually, right? We have the yellow tiger mother, and this is about your spiritual protection. So as you're going through this phase of calling back the pieces of you that are broken, even those pieces have been protected. So like where there's been holes in your energy field, or feeling fragmented within your soul, or just not feeling connected to the world today, many of you have been protected as you're going through this awareness. For many of you, this awakening with the Sisters of the Sun here. Again, I always get with this card, and especially when a mother card comes out, that this has to do with the female lineage, with the maternal lineage for many of you. So there's this protection that's happening for the divine feminine energy. And then we have another card about the mothers with the turquoise lotus mother here. We also have the ivory swan goddess. So definitely sacred things are occurring for the divine feminine energy. Turquoise could be a very significant crystal for many of you, and color. Take that as it resonates. Some of you, your mother or grandmother wore turquoise. You were given turquoise by them. That's not for everyone. Just take it as it resonates, okay? There's something about the color turquoise and the crystal turquoise. But the turquoise lotus mother here is all about this healing that's occurring. So as you're doing this soul retrieval, it's like there's a very precious healing that's occurring for you now. And it's encouraging you to allow yourself to be lifted out of your struggle, out of any old pattern, out of anything that has weighed you down heavily from your past. There is this, that's the path as you're doing this soul retrieval that's allowing you to do this more easily and effortlessly. It's like you have spirit guides or ancestors that are guiding you and assisting you to releasing these old patterns, okay? And with the Sisters of the Sun, it's saying that you're highly creative. You're a very creative being with very potent potential to help raise the vibration of the consciousness on this planet. And it's about the power of collaboration. So choosing to work with others. It's like as you do this healing, for many of you, you're working with others because you're allowing that ripple effect. You're being an example. You're being an inspiration so that others can see how soul retrieval is done, how healing can occur. And for many of you, as this being, it's like leading by example is what I'm getting. And still staying connected to your creative abilities. As you're being connected to your creative abilities, standing strong with this, here the yellow tiger mother, it's encouraging you to hold true. When everything around you seems to be shifting and changing, because we have the book of changes here. So for some of you, this is occurring like on an Akashic Records type level. For many of you, you're just rewriting your story. And when I say rewriting your story, it's because some may have said you were always going to be this way, or you always did this, or you had a pattern of, I just heard, reacting instead of responding for some of you. But whatever the pattern is, it's like many of you are changing it up. You're being strong within self, and you're not allowing past cycles and patterns to keep you stuck. You're allowing this change to occur. You're surrendering it to divine forces, being flexible and in the flow. It's like you're balancing out, you know when, where, and how to be strong. Like when there's times to stand your ground. This is a healing aspect for many of you because you've learned how to set boundaries. But you're not so strong that you're not able to see other people's point of view and be at peace. Have calmness. Move with an energy of calmness. Before, especially with soul retrieval, some of you may have felt like you were people pleasing, or you allowed people to, like, you gave your power away to people. And the healing that has occurred for some of you, and or will be occurring for others of you, is knowing that balance of flexibility and flow, and when to stand your ground, and when and how to move in a more peaceful way. Okay? So with this book of changes also, it's like sometimes situations and circumstances occur, right? And this is why the soul retrieval is here. And these circumstances and situations can seem to take us away from the desired goal, or cause you to question whether you need to take matters into your own hand. This is where you find that flexibility and flow, because you could just be like, nah, I'm doing it this way and that's that. And sometimes it calls for that, right? But it takes discernment to know when you need to stand your ground and when there's a time to be flexible, calm, and in the flow. This is what, with this book of changes, many of you are now understanding why something is happening the way that it's happening. And right now, with patience and experience, you have the wisdom, you're receiving the wisdom and the helpfulness for this situation. It's like you're working with higher intelligence. So as you're working with higher intelligence, calling back the pieces of you that seem fragmented, torn, balancing out when to be strong and discerning in a situation, and when to be discerning and flexible in a situation, because it takes that balance. It's not always bogarting your way through something your way or the highway. Sometimes it is taking a step back, being calm, and seeing it all sides, you know? Okay, so what do you have for this message? What do you have for this message? Thank you. Oh, yeah. And being committed to that process. We have the Tiwa's rune. If I can get that. Hold on, okay? Oh, yeah. Come here, you. Where'd you go? Okay, Tiwa's rune. So for some of you, it's like being committed to your tribe, to your family. Do you see the lions there? It's like when there's a pack in many ways, because a pack could be like a verbal pact, but it could also be like a pack, like a group, you know? Take it as it resonates. Some of you have a pact with other people. This isn't for everyone. Some of you are just a part of a group. Okay? That's for someone. I just heard pact. But this Tiwa's rune is if you look at it, it looks like an arrow, right? This is the rune for Tiwa's. It looks exactly like an arrow. So it's like many of you are shooting straight forward, going directly. So it's like when you pull an arrow and you shoot it, many of you are going full steam ahead like an arrow, right? And it's to provide order and justice in the spiritual realm. Tiwaz is really a rune about law and justice. So many of you are committed on a spiritual level to balancing things out, to bring like justice on the spiritual realm, to balancing or adhering, I just heard, committed to spiritual law. Spiritual law. Something about that. For some of you, there was like a war in the spirit that was waged on you. And this is why some of you are having this soul retrieval. It's like someone or whomever spiritually waged war against you. It hurt for some of you, like it broke your heart to have to stand your ground against certain people and call for spiritual justice. But it's like it's a commitment that you're like have a pact to. It's a commitment that your soul is made for some of you. And that's why the soul retrieval is here. It's like you had to bring forth spiritual justice for some of you. And for the people that you realize are receiving this spiritual justice, this is where some of you are stuck and needing to do the soul retrieval, because it hurts you to have to be the one in the spiritual to call judgment or for justice. That's not for everyone, okay? Take it as it resonates. Interesting. What do you have for this message? Okay. Yeah, you're having to find ways to let it go so that this change can occur. The change was necessary. And this is again about that flexibility. Remember, we just spoke about being able to be calm and still go with the flow. Be calm, go with the flow, and let it go. Be calm, go with the flow, and let it go. Because this is what's going to bring in the prosperity. It's like that spiritual justice was needed to balance things out. And some of you may have felt alone in doing this, but it's like the divine was saying, take the time you need now to call back the pieces of you. Take your time to self, and then you'll be able to see the prosperity in all of it. You'll feel more flexible within self. You'll be able to let it go, not holding on to it, not still feeling broken and fragmented about it, and then be able to emerge like a butterfly. So some of you, this has been going on for, I'm hearing 3-4 years, for some of you longer, for some less. But this change is definitely occurring. And the change is definitely bringing in prosperity. Now, prosperity, a lot of times when we think of prosperity, that's one of those words like abundance, right? People just think of wealth. I mean, like money wealth. Do you know what I mean? They don't think on a wider plane about it, right? Prosperity is not just about money. It's not just about having the nice name brand, whatever. Prosperity happens on multiple levels. Do you see here with this little fairy on the honeybee? The honeybee is a part of a community. It collects its pollen to go back to the hive, right? So this isn't about hive mind, but it's about The prosperity of being able to work together to produce a very vital, because honey, pollen, the flowers, like, they're a major part of everything here, right? Honey is sweet, but it takes work to get that done. And the bees do it, and they do it without complaining. It's just like they know their part, right? But the prosperity is the condition of being successful and thriving. It's not just material wealth, it's thriving in every aspect of life. Not striving, oh my gosh, I got to get this done. The bees aren't like, oh my God, the queen wants us to go out today. I got to go to another flower and another flower to get pollen. No, they're like, yo, we're thriving today, being successful. Look at our hive growing. We got the honeycombs. Everything's going good. And the fairies are like, hey, little bee, how you doing? So some of you work with faith spirits. This has been coming up a lot in my readings recently. But prosperity is the condition of thriving and being successful in multiple aspects of your life. Health, mentally, spiritually, physically, collectively. And sometimes that takes being a little bit flexible so that you're able to, like a palm tree, bend and not break. When the wind comes, the palm trees just lean to the left a little, lean to the right a little, but then they stand right back erect. Not so fragile or stuck on one set of mind and not being open-minded that you'll break if you actually had to consider another avenue or another train of thought. Okay? You'd break if you had to consider any change. Like, I've always done it this way. I'm the queen bee and I'm not letting go. Sometimes even the queen finds another way to get things done in the hive, right? So how can we be flexible and get things done to bring in prosperity where we're thriving on multiple dimensions and multiple aspects? What do you have for this message? What do you have for this message? Only one wanted to come out. Jackpot, baby. Ka-ching, ching, ching. Jackpot. That's exactly what prosperity is to me. It's like hitting the jackpot in all aspects of your life. I keep hearing family. Soul family. But family. Those you collaborate with, connect with. Business connections so that prosperity is more easily and effortlessly facilitated to not just one, but to many. Prosperity and hitting the jackpot in health. Prosperity and hitting the jackpot with our youth, where things aren't so, this is the way you become wealthy and this is the way you learn and this is the way you... No, where they're able to see change happening in their world and be the change they want to see in the world. Change that brings prosperity. Change where they feel like they've hit a jackpot in life. Instead of working 30 years for a mortgage, which literally means death contract, where they have a way to change things. You're not working until you're 70 and then you go on a vacation. And then you may own your house, but yet and still a bank, another entity owns it. That's not thriving. That's surviving. Hitting the jackpot is where you're thriving, where you're having prosperity, not just surviving. Jackpot, 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 jackpot. Okay, what do you have for this message, please? Thank you. Anything else? Yep, and this is going to take us powering over difficulty. It's difficult when something has been the way of the world for 20, 30, 40, 50 years. Because we've had mortgages on houses. We've had an education system that say this is the things your kids need to learn, even though they have no real life skills. I don't want to use the word survival, but you know what I mean in this aspect when I say survival. If we lost internet and power today, let's just say that happened for whatever reason, how many youth would have any skills with planting or having to cook without electricity? Just any way, would they have the common sense? Would they be going through detox without their cell phone or their devices? That would be a very difficult situation. If a hurricane or something, a natural disaster came through and it knocked out the internet, it knocked out the electricity. Many people wouldn't know what to do, because if you think about it, there wouldn't be food in the stores for very long. And then you'd get to see people's, okay, we're not going down that route. This whole thing is about powering over difficulty, right? As we power over difficulty to reclaim your power, your sovereignty, this is where you feel like you hit the jackpot. This is how you tap into prosperity. There's always going to be difficult situations that come up, right? But do you give your power away? Because that's what happened with this soul retrieval card that we started with at the beginning of the reading. So this soul retrieval is also about reclaiming your power and powering over those difficult situations so that you feel more whole again. So that you feel like you hit the jackpot. Tapping back into the energy of prosperity where we're thriving, not just surviving. That energy's been permeating for far too long, where people will do anything to get the money, get the bag, and then, take it from there. But this is about powering over difficulty and reclaiming your power. And that's card number 32. 3 and 2 is 5. That change, that transformation is occurring. What do you have for this message, please? Okay. Because as that change is occurring for many, it creates volatile times, volatility, right? Now, volatility, like everything here, has two sides to it. It can be in a very chaotic way, but there are aspects when volatility is also a quote-unquote good thing, because it does induce change. Change does occur. If you think about it, when a volcano erupts, once it's cooled, there's a completely different landscape. And then you have to power over those difficulties of having a new terrain. How are things going to grow in this new terrain? How do we grow in volatile situations? Volatility on the opposite side, when someone or something is volatile, it can just erupt like a volcano and not think about any of the consequences or any of the cause and effect from just reacting and not responding. A volcano reacts and then it erupts. You, as a sovereign being, have the ability to choose to respond and use the volatility in a different way. Meaning, when you recognize that a change needs to occur or should occur, or you want to be the change that you see in the world, then you have a choice to respond instead of react. You don't have to blow up at someone through your words or your actions, but you can choose peace and being flexible in your words and your thoughts, and still balance that out with standing your ground. So basically, you can be a hothead and create more difficulty that you'll have to power over later, or you can reclaim your power, still being able to stand your ground, but doing it in a very peaceful way. And that seems contradictory, because usually we're just like, go to war. You can't be peaceful without war, I just heard. Okay, well, you have to decide that for yourself. Either way, the change is going to occur, right? So, let's find out more. What do you have for this message, please? What do you have for this message? What do you have for this message? Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So, let's see. We got a few here. What do we have? All right. Okay. For many of you, we were talking about this change occurring, right? And you can be volatile, or you can be open to healing information. You can choose to tap into your heart chakra. And you want to know something about the heart chakra? Like, we talk a lot about heart and mind coherence, right? Now, the mind is a very powerful tool. It is. Because our thoughts become our reality. What you think about, where attention goes, energy flow. Where energy flows, you know what I'm saying? Attention goes, energy flows, all of that, right? That's the mind aspect of it. However, it's the heart and the feelings, the energy in motion, that has a bigger effect. If you've ever, like the heart, it's not the auric field, the magnetic field of the heart is stronger than the mind. A lot of people tend to be very logical, but it's still the things of the heart that move things. So we talk about the head and heart coherence, but it's really keeping that heart chakra balanced. It's what's in your heart that you're going to think about. What's hurting your heart, what's growing your heart, what makes your heart feel like it's thriving, or what makes it feel like it's surviving. That produces the thought. So when there's energy behind these thoughts, I just said all that to say that, like, there's something, okay, let me pull it up because this is bugging me. There's something about, like, how the heart is more, it's not magnetized is the word that I'm looking for. What is it? I think hold on. I think I read that somewhere. What is it? So first and foremost, when we are open to the healing information in the heart. And you see this card is the green of the heart chakra. Yeah, okay, it says studies reveal that the electrical signals from the heart are up to 60 times stronger than the brain's, and the magnetic field is as much as 5 times more powerful. Okay, so yes, our brain thinking patterns is where the patterns are created, because your subconscious mind, you know, it doesn't need your insight. It's running on autopilot, right? And so it's only what you're consciously aware of, but your heart is what's more connected to me, to the subconscious. That's where the subconscious is getting its auto programming from the things that are in your heart. Things you're not speaking, not wanting to feel, you're pushing down, you're hiding away from. Soul retrieval, things that have hurt. That's for someone. Take it as it resonates. It's about being open to hearing, receiving healing information, and allowing yourself to love and let yourself be loved, for some of you. For many of you, when it comes to relationships and when it comes to your success, when it comes to prosperity, it's time for you to set your sights higher. I always say at the end of a reading, shoot for the moon, and even if you miss, you're still amongst the stars. And that's about dreaming big, allowing your mind to open up to bigger and better. Like some of you, your dreams are small because you can't see in yourself having certain things. And I've been there too. Like, I'm guilty of that as well. And it's been conditioned sometimes from where you grew up, or maybe your family only had a certain amount of money, so you can never see yourself being a millionaire, even though it's not just about the money, you know? For some of you, you came into certain families and you never thought you'd be the one to get married and have a successful marriage, because anybody can just get married, honey. But who's actually happy in their marriage? That's the caveat to it. Not just for the sake of being married, or even people that are in a relationship. So what? You got a boyfriend, you got a girlfriend. Are you happy with each other? Or is that just your roommate? You don't even touch, hug, kiss, don't talk, don't communicate. And if you do, okay, I said too much. But anyway, you get where I'm going with that. Did you ever think you could have a relationship where there is equal give and take, where you're actually excited to see that person, even after 10, 15, 20, 30 years? I mean, today it's like hit it and quit it. I'm tired of you. We've been here 5 years. I'm going to get me something else. That's for some. That's not for everybody. You know, take it as it resonates. There's no judgment here. Whatever makes you feel like you're enjoying success and happiness with the sun card here. But for some of you, this is saying set your sights higher. Set your sights higher when it comes to relationships. Set your sights higher when it comes to your career. Set your sights higher when it comes to your health, with what you can achieve, with just having life that feels like you're thriving instead of surviving. Set your sights higher. And for some of you, setting your sights higher in love and allowing these lessons that you've learned, that you've received, those spiritual experiences, to allow you to become the great teacher, where you're able to move in peace. Do you see the dove here? Where you don't have to force your beliefs on anyone, but to peacefully to be able to speak your piece, standing your ground, but still being calm about it. Okay? That keeps coming up. So What do you have for this message? What do you have for this message? Anything else? Okay. And we already said it. I've said it over and over. Your thoughts create your reality. So yes, the heart and the mind coherence is very important. But as I stated shortly ago, your heart plays a very powerful part in the process. It's from the abundance of your heart that your thoughts will create your reality. So for many of you, forgive yourself, and forgiveness is going to be a part of this aspect of this soul retrieval. Forgive yourself and be yourself. And do you see how this is all the blues of the chakras? I'm getting forgive yourself for many of you of how you speak to yourself. This is about throat chakra energy. Because some of you, your self-talk hasn't been very high vibrational with self. And some of you, you were programmed in this way to not speak highly of yourself because you possibly grew with others that didn't speak highly of you, or you had friends that took every chance. Whatever it is, it's not about playing the victim. That's why this soul retrieval is here. For the times where you gave your power away, forgive yourself. And now be yourself. Whether others resonate with it or not. How do you see yourself being prosperous? How are you able to thrive and not survive? What allows you, and what I was going to say is connect with those that allow you to be yourself and not try to change you. And if you can't be yourself around a certain group of people or individuals, baby, that's not your tribe. You're not going to be able to thrive. You're going to always be in survival mode. Well, what if I say this, or what if they do that? Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. What do you have for this message, please? What do you have for this message? What do you have for this message? Okay. We have medicine bag and great mysteries. So this being open to this healing information, many of you are going to be tapping into I just saw something, but I know there's a word for it, but it's like you're able to touch something and receive messages from it. So say like you were holding a crystal and it belonged to someone else. You're able to pick up energetic messages from that. Or some of you have this ability, what is that called? Where like you can take someone's bracelet or their shirt and you're able to receive messages from that. It's like you're able to tap into these great mysteries. Like not everybody has that ability, but some of you do. You're able to touch something or hold something and receive messages from it. And so it's like many of you, as you do the soul retrieval, you're going to be able to trust in these messages that you're receiving, trust in this ability that you have. Some of you, you're going to be able to touch someone and know what herbs are going to heal them with medicine bag here. Some of you, you're not even going to need to touch people, but you're going to know what medicines, like what information for some of you that they need to hear. Be open to healing information. For some of you, this is going to end up being a very lucrative career for you as you trust this spiritual gift that you have. treasure with the medicine bag here. It's like it's going to bring you many treasures. For some of you, you're able to touch things that people considered like they treasured, and you're able to receive healing information or messages. Some of you haven't been trusting this ability, but as you do this soul retrieval work, you will feel more successful in it. Okay, we got some different messages happening today. And that's because many of you are learning from these spiritual experiences. At first, you may not have been open to allowing it, but now you're setting your sights higher when it comes to spirituality and being open to the spiritual messages that are coming forth for you. For some of you, this created some volatility within self because you didn't want to touch certain people or certain things. That's not for everyone. What do you have today for this message? What do you have today for this message? What do you have for this message? What do you have? I just got small hands. What do you have for this message? Okay, so some of you, by touching the earth, you're even able to ground your energy, but you're also able to receive messages. Whether this is messages from being out in nature or messages from actually like touching trees. That's for some. That's not for everyone. Yeah, grounding. We have 2 cards that speak of the earth chakra here. That's why these cards are black. So this is the chakra, because we know of the major 7, right? But there are 2 more that are definitely been coming more and more into the awareness of the consciousness. And so the Earth Star chakra is one of them. And this chakra is located like 6 inches below your feet. It's that chakra that connects you with earth energy, that assists you with grounding, connecting to Mother Nature, connecting to the wisdom. It's like it roots you and grounds you with earth energy. The same way we would stick a pole in the ground to ground energy, to ground electricity. It's like many of you, the information that's coming from your crown chakra, it's vital for you to connect with earth energy, with your earth star chakra, to ground in this wisdom as it comes in for you, so that it's not all over the place and so that it's not like sporadic within your body. You're like a, not tuning for it, but like a grounding pole. For those of you who know like electricity or lights or whatever it is, whenever you have a house, they usually like ground the electrical, right? So spiritual wisdom is electrifying when it comes into the crown chakra. When you're going through an awakening, when you're purging, your body goes through different things. And so for many of you, as you're purging certain things out, going through purification process, as you are receiving divine insight and receiving downloads, many of you, some of the healing information would be facilitated to you easier if you took the time to ground yourself, connect with your earth star chakra. Again, it's the chakra that's about 6 inches below your feet. Okay, so it's below the root chakra. And then the 9th one, that's like number 8. The 9th one is the soul star chakra, and then that's like 6 inches above your crown chakra, and that just connects you that much deeper with the celestial wisdom that comes from the ethers. Okay, but 1 and 4, so grounding with earth energy. Okay. Okay, so let's grab some crystal cards and let's see. What do you have for this message? What do you have for this message? As you're getting grounded, receiving these downloads, being open to healing information, be patient with yourself. Many of you may feel like you're in this energy of procrastination because you want to constantly move, and do things. But there are cycles. Things come in cycles. So there's times where you need to be active and moving and on the go and in the flow. And there are times where you need to sit back and chill a little bit. And for some of you, it's like you don't really know going with the flow and being easy about stuff. You feel like because society says you should always be accomplishing things that you're procrastinating. But it's not really procrastination, it's being patient. I just heard for some of you, it's waiting on the Most High. So some of you feel like you're procrastinating, so you're trying to go out and get another job, or you want to I just heard do another reading for somebody, and the divine is saying rest, baby. You don't have to burn yourself out. There's a time for go. That's why this 8 of Wands is in reverse. Look. This 8 of Wands came out in reverse. This means no movement. So there's a time to go and there's a time to not go. There's a time to be in peace and to stand your ground about having your peace. Having your peace so that you can do this soul retrieval healing. Taking time with self. Instead of being in go mode all the time in beta frequency. Sometimes it's time to beta brainwave frequency. Instead of being in beta frequencies where your mind is go, your thoughts are go, some of you aren't sleeping, you're up because you feel like you got to get the next thing done. It's quiet in the house, I can get another reading done. It's quiet in the house, I can finish this homework assignment. It's quiet in the house, I can work on these stocks. What stocks for somebody? Take it as it resonates. It's quiet. I can work this spell. I don't know who that's for, but whatever. My point is that to not feel guilty when you feel like there's not movement, because everything is divinely guided. There are times when you do need to be at peace. 6 of Swords. Moving in a state where your mind is at peace. And being okay, like standing your ground with being at peace. It's not about if somebody else thinks you're not being productive or you're lazy or you're procrastinating, because your path is not their path. Your health is not their health. So be patient with yourself as things are unfolding for you. Okay? It's not necessarily procrastination. Sometimes it's really patience. And not everyone gets that, you know. And I get it, because in society today it tells you you got the same 24 hours in a day I got. So what did you get done? You slept all day? But maybe your body needed that to rejuvenate, and now you can jump 10 steps ahead. Versus if you had kept going, you would have ran your battery out. Okay? What do you have for this message, please? What do you have for this message? What do you have for this message? One more time. Thank you. Okay, so yeah. Some of you always feel like you got to be putting in the work with a gardener here. But a gardener doesn't garden let me say it like this. A good homesteader, a good gardener puts things into their garden that allow the garden to grow with ease. In Mother Nature, there's not a lot that nature does. It gives the sun, it gives the rain, and then the plants do the rest, right? So if you're setting up a garden, some of the tools that you would set in the garden so that it just free flows easily might be a water drip system, right? Or putting certain pollinators in your garden that attract certain plants that attract pollinators to get certain things to grow, or certain plants that keep insects away. My whole point for saying that is, even in the ecosystem of a garden, you set things up so that you're not constantly having to take care of things. You find ways to set systems so that it works effectively. There it is. That's what I was going for. You find ways to resolve the conflict, whatever this conflict may be. Are you doing it in a peaceful way, or is it in a way that gets you all frantic and distorted? For some of you, you're finding ways to resolve conflict and not be a distorted feminine, or resolve conflicts with a distorted feminine. Now, you can be a man and still have distorted feminine energy. You could be a man that is connected to a distorted feminine. You could be a woman and you have distorted feminine energy. You could be a woman and you're just connected to distorted feminine energy. And the distorted feminine energy is one that needs to be in control, uses emotions to manipulate. When I think of distorted feminine energy, I think of the Queen of Cups in reverse in the tarot, right? So it's someone who, when they're burnt out, they lash out. It's someone who doubts themselves, so they may try to cause others to doubt themselves through emotional manipulation. It's someone who doesn't prioritize self-care. It's someone who is possibly out of touch with their emotions, or hold your emotions deep down inside. See, some men have distorted feminine energy because they're not in touch with their emotions, and they'll hold them down inside. But women have gained this quality as well, especially with this aspect of us dealing with narcissistic, whatever, that's become a very prominent term today, right? But even without the narcissistic aspect of it, expressing one's emotions today is not always an easy process. Some don't even know how to do it. So this is where therapy could help to resolve that conflict. For some, you have a distorted feminine energy or connected to one because of sexuality. And don't get me on this one today, because you guys already know that sex is sold today like a piece of penny candy in a store. They put sex in your songs, there's sex in the movies, there's sex in kids' cartoons. And so it makes it kind of difficult to not be distorted when it comes to sexuality, whether you're a man or a woman. Because if they're putting titties and ass in your face all day, men are very visual, is what we say, right? So they looking at this, they feel like they, and remember, the eyes are the windows to the soul, so this is what their soul starts to lust after. Or as a woman, they told you, if you ain't got a big ass, you not popping. So now you got everybody shaking their ass on social media. These are things that assist in creating distorted feminine energy. Someone who doesn't shake it like someone else may not feel as though they're as beautiful, or that they are not going to connect with certain men because they are not built a certain way. And so then they force down their emotions. It's all these little aspects that create fractures within self that then need to be called back, healed, and made whole. And then have the little cracks filled with the refinement of gold from the Most High. Some are getting over distorted feminine energy when it comes to sexuality, so that you're able to connect with a divine masculine, and or connect to the divine masculine inside of you. You see, you could be a divine masculine, but with a divine feminine, with a distorted divine feminine energy. Why? Because you know that you're a quote unquote high value man, or a man that's able to provide and protect, but you also have that distorted feminine energy because you feel like you see it, you want it, you get it. Meaning you see a little pretty PYT, pretty young thing, you feel like you should have it because you got the money and you can provide, and so you get it. Whether your soul is speaking to you and saying that's not for you, dude, listen, your ego is in the forefront right now. That's not for you. And you like, but I can provide and protect, and I'm a divine masculine, and I know it. I'm gonna get that little PYT. But really, your ego was speaking, and I ain't your ego that I'm talking about. Your little ego, hint, hint. It's like there's ways now that we need to find peaceful conflict resolution when it comes to distorted masculine energy, man or woman, and the distorted feminine energy, man or woman. But these things can be grounded into reality. It's like you can't, how does it say? You can't fix something if you didn't know it was a problem or something like that. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but until you recognize that there needed to be a solution, you can't fix it. Something like that. What crystals do you have for this message so we can wrap this up? What crystals? Anything else? Okay, so we have the heliotrope. This crystal is like a bloodstone crystal. And it's a crystal that magnifies the cleansing of negative energy in the blood. So, ooh. I just heard some of you have connected with a distorted feminine, and there's something that needs to be healed in the blood. For some of you, it's not going to be able to be healed. For some of you, it will be able to be healed. That's why you need to be open to healing information. So some of you may need to take a visit to your gynecologist, or what's the man version of a gynecologist? Do we even have one of those? Well, I guess your general practitioner, but there's something about sexual energy and the blood. And I'm not a medical professional. I'm just giving you what I'm hearing. Some of you need to cleanse your blood. And some of you just need to cleanse your energy because you've been sexually active with distorted feminines. And remember, I said a distorted feminine could be a man or a woman. So a man that's constantly feeling like spreading their sexual energy all over the place, or vice versa. Take it as it resonates, okay? This crystal is coming out here to assist you with this. So it's not just the crystal. Don't just go get this crystal and be like, oh, I'm going to heal the blood. I'm going to heal from the... I'm not a medical professional, okay? Go see a medical professional. For those of you, things don't come up by chance. And so I'm giving the messages as they're coming up. But the heliotrope could assist you as you're going through this healing and receiving the healing information by helping you to cleanse any negative energy in your blood. And it does this by grounding any anger or resentment that's in your heart and in your blood. It throws a calming effect on your heart when you are feeling irritated and impatient. So at times when you're feeling volatile, like you irritated, you just want to blow up at somebody, meditating with the heliotrope is a crystal that could assist you with that. For some of you, we had the sexuality come out here with the distorted feminine. For some of you, there's a message about your blood, okay? You may need to get checked out, but I'm no medical professional, so take that as it resonates, okay? And I'm also almost about to run out of space, so let's finish this up. What do you have for this message? Any closing messages? Anything the collective needs to know? Anything else you would like to say to the collective? Okay, so yeah, some of you are walking away from distorted feminine energy. You've been hurt. You're open to the healing information now. You're receiving healing information. We have the Eight of Cups, the Nine of Wands, the Two of Pentacles, the Magician, the Fool, the Two of Wands, the Ace of Cups, and the Judgment. So many of you are walking away, balancing things out with self. You're being open to the tools that are coming to you, the healing information, taking time to self, being committed to your healing, being committed to being yourself, and allowing this energy of prosperity and success to come forth. You're making plans on having a new beginning, taking a leap of faith. You've made the decisions. You made a judgment call on any distorted feminine energy, whether that be within you or someone else, and you're walking away from it. And as you're walking away, remember, this is about the soul retrieval. Call back those pieces of you that need to be healed, the pieces of you that are fragmented, and remember that the Most High can make that decision, that judgment call, to fill in those little pieces like refined gold, okay? This is